Hi guys, welcome to XtraTalk. We have Sahbi with us, we have Papimento with us, and of course, back Yadirenko. Thank you for being here. We have a bunch of things to talk about, guys. Actually, too much to talk about. I don't know if we can fit everything in, like this session. I don't think so. Let's see how far we come. I have to apologize for the viewers as well on behalf of the crew. We were planning on doing a video earlier this week. But yeah, some of the crew members went to a certain party. I cannot disclose that party. And some people got sick after that party. I cannot disclose the names of those people either. But yeah, so some people are back. I feel better. I can say that. I feel better. So good to have you all. Let's talk about Ajax. Let me start with Martinez, guys. Friday news came in from David Ornstein, which is, top tier journalist actually from The Athletic. And he said that there was a bid for Martinez from Arsenal, and that was 30 million euros. And Ajax rejected that. But there are two very important elements here. Martinez is keen for a move to Arsenal. That's one. And the second of all is Arsenal will keep pushing for it. So I'm going to give it to Yadirenko because I can see already he wants to say something about this. So, Yadirenko, let's start with you. Let me start with you. What do you think of this whole thing? Because also, when you think about the transfer window, it just started, but the whole attention was towards Antony, Timber, these two players. And now you're seeing also Martinez being, a hot player for Arsenal now. What's your view, and what does it mean for us, for Ajax?
I think there are two players who are important to keep and to do almost anything to keep them, and those are Timber and Martinez in my view. So I'm surprised that he wants to go to Arsenal. I don't know why the hell you want to go to Arsenal.
Premier League, maybe.
Sorry,
Premier League, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
He believes in the plan.
Yeah, and in the process probably.
All right. So you said something very important. You said Timber. If you were like Hamstra and Huntelaar, part of the technical staff, basically, you would say, look, these two players, those are flagged as indispensable. We're not going to sell them this summer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I would argue towards any player, also Antony, also the other important players that want to leave. There's a World Cup coming up. So why do you want to risk your position in the national squad if you move now, and you never know what happens. You also never know what happens at Ajax, but you at least know you have a place when you're fit.
Yeah, good point. Sahbi, do you agree with Yadirenko? Do you see it differently? What do you think of this whole Martinez, news that came out at the end of the week on Friday?
Yeah, it came like thunder, man. I was really surprised and flabbergasted when I saw that news. But I totally agree with Yadirenko on this. I mean, there are certain players at Ajax which you really need to keep. And we should not listen on what the player wants. Of course, you listen, but you should take into account that they have a contract and they need to abide that contract. That's one thing. The second thing is the bid from Arsenal. That was, in my opinion, a real joke. 30 million euros. I mean, that should be a bid for a talent that has never played before at a top club, so to say. I mean, last year or maybe the year before, they paid like 55 million for a player called Ben White, who is a defender, the same as Martinez. So how the hell do you come up with 30 million? I know White is an English player, so that's why the value is a bit increased. But no, I mean, if he needs to get sold, if Ajax is willing to sell one of their best players, they need to go for a top price. And with a top price, I'm saying exceeding the 50. And then if he really wants to go and there's nothing there's no way we could stop him. There should be like a jackpot coming in, but at least, but from my view, he should stay. He should stay. He's one of our backbones in our squad. So yeah, that's my view on this.
Pavimento, also I'm going to ask you the same question, but also I'm going to throw something in it as well. First, Sahbi said it has to be the jackpot. What do you think are jackpot prices for these players? Let me say Antony, Timber, Martinez, these players. What are jackpot prices if they come up with a certain bid? Ajax would be maybe, of course we want to keep them, like Jadarenko said, they're key players. But at what point do we start thinking, guys, this is too good, we maybe have to accept this? What is it for you?
For me, it's like, okay, is everything on the table like Huntelaar said, Juan? Or is it like, no, we have these three indispensable players, no other player profile we have can take over these positions? And then I'm talking Timber, Antony, Martinez. And how big is the drop? If you do sell him, like what do we have on the bench, or should we buy something? So for me, yeah, if we want to compete next year with a good team, I think the combination of Timber and Martinez are going to be key. And also a profile like Antony, we don't have that. So it's going to be, I would say everything above 50 million, I think Ajax will accept. But even then, I would say, Martinez is a contract till 2025. Antony, I think the same. Timber till 2024. So you don't have to accept anything, and you can still have a great team next season. So for me, like, yeah, I think everything above 50 would be a good offer, but I just don't want him to leave.
Jadarenko, can we, as Ajax, right, we can do whatever we want, of course. I'm taking that away before you answer like that to me. But realistically, you're saying we have to keep our key players, and these are the key players, of course, of the team as well, but also other players. But can we afford that as Ajax? If you look at the COVID, if you look at the players that Mazraoui went for free, Onana went for free, Brobbey, we'll come to that later. That's gonna hurt us even more. Gravenberg went for very cheap, like a discount, basically, if you look at his talent. Can we afford to say this summer to these three players, or any one of those three players, no, we're going to keep them, even if a bid like what Pavimento said, let's say 40, 50, 60 million comes for each of these players?
That's a long question.
I know. I have to explain it to the viewers as well.
And not an easy question either.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I think what you're currently seeing, I don't know the finances. That's one. But I think it's strange since we swam in money in 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
And we bulked up the money in unbelievable amounts. And that should be gone now because of COVID. It has an impact, but it hasn't that big of an impact as the pile was, in my opinion. But again, I don't have the exact figures, but I would find it strange that Ajax couldn't do that, and I also find it bad policy if they can't. So you should be able to stay strong for 6 months if a tournament is coming up, or even a year. That's the position that you need to defend the first. So if you have a bulk of money, then you have to reserve that money, in my opinion, for those kind of moments.
Yeah. Sahbi, how do you see? Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, I just wanted to react. And the money also has to be visible on the pitch. Like, if you're going to sell everything and you have a great bank account, but you're not getting the results to match a great club like Ajax, then what are you selling for? Getting prices is more important for me.
Yeah, Pavimento, but I understand what you're saying. Of course, you're absolutely right. The thing I was saying is we don't have to sell all of them. I'm just saying, can we afford ourselves not to sell anyone? That's what I was saying.
Yeah, but we already lost two big players from our team. Like Mazraoui and Gravenberg, we're dismissing it as it's not a big deal. But those are already two huge players of your team. And now you maybe, let's say, out of the three, one will leave. That's another big player. Like, how far do you want Ajax to drop in level, you know?
Yeah, how far, Sahbi? How far should we go?
We shouldn't. We shouldn't. We should stick with this team. I mean, we should stay firm. The thing is, which I'm annoyed about, is the lack of transparency coming from Ajax. When Overmars was working at Ajax, there was a lot of transparency. He stated what he gave a lot of information about the contracts, about what needs to be done, what needs to be sold, what the budget will be, etc. So we had a lot of information. But since a few months now, there is no information at all. So just as Yaderenko said, we don't know nothing about the finances. We don't know nothing about any budgets. We know nothing about whether we are in red or whether we need to sell or whether we would like to sell to have certain amount in a bank account, for example. So that's quite annoying. But if you look at the whole story from, as Yaderenko said, from 2019 up until now, I don't see any reason why we need to sell our key players. We got Gravenberg with a discount. We could see whether we could have a replacement for that. We can even use that amount to buy a creative a striker or a left winger. I mean, people talking about Bergwijn, just to state that as an example. So there should be amount, but we don't know. But I don't see any reason why we need to sell.
Yeah. Let me switch it a little bit. Let me ask a different question. Let's say, I mean, it's all hypothetical, of course. I mean, it's not real life. But if you could choose, right? If you could choose between keeping the team as is, because Papimento already mentioned, listen, we cannot disregard the fact that we're already missing two players, Mazraoui and Gravenberg. These are not any kind of players. These were also important players for our team. So would you guys rather choose now, from now on, we don't sell any first 11 player anymore, but we cannot get anyone in it? Or would you rather sell one to go one step back and reinforce the team for next season? What will be your choice? Let me go with Papimento first on this.
Yeah, there's a nuance there because I would sell some players from the 11 team. I just wouldn't sell my indispensable players from the 11 team. Haller, you can take any time, bro. Haller, if you sell him for 30, 40, you clear the books and you can continue. So it doesn't need to be those big players that need to leave, you know?
Yeah. So you're saying that if it's up to you, you will look at different players in 11. Those players we can miss. You're mentioning Haller as a prime example.
For example, yeah, he's a big salary within the team, I guess. So that's why I'm saying Haller. And you can easily sell him for 30 to 40 million.
Yeah.
That's the amount you want to close the books. So I get that you need to sell something, but don't go selling your best players.
Yeah. Anyone want to react on that one?
No, I mean, I totally agree with Papimento on this. Sell Haller. You got a budget of 35 to 40 million. You can use that amount to buy that left-footed attacker that you really want, that play that has that depth, that speed, and so on. You can puzzle with your own team because there are a lot of players who can play in different positions. So you got the whole package, and we got a Taylor who can replace Gravenberg. We got certain midfielders as well who can play there as well. So there is no need to really sell our players, our really key players.
Yeah.
Let's keep that and not trying to sell them for big bucks and then start all over again, because it will take years before we even can get to that level that we are used to these last years.
Yeah. Look, we started with Lisandro Martinez. Now we're talking about the big three. Let me call them like that. Martinez, Timber, Antony. There was also news about the other two. Let me just say, Antony, there was a journalist, Miguel Delaney from The Independent, who said that Spurs is going to challenge Manchester United for Antony now. They might use or they might offer Bergwijn as a in the deal to make it happen. I mean, we don't know if this is true or not. We don't know how trustworthy that is, but this is still news. And I'm going to add also the other news, and then I'll go with Jadarenko. The other news was actually from The Guardian, and it was about Timber, who supposedly is staying at Ajax. He's saying, for me, the World Cup, as Jadarenko said, is very important. I want to stay in the first team. I want to know that I can play every week because I want to be in the national team. I want my spot. So, again, these are news. We don't know if it's fully true, yes or no. But how would you react to the other news, Jadarenko? To Antony first, maybe putting Bergwijn in a deal. Should we do that? Should we do it separately or not at all, depending on what you think? And what about, does it make sense to you that Timber might stay?
To top it off, I think it makes perfect sense that Timber stays. I think it's a wise decision, finally a wise decision from a young player that breaks through. I think Gravenberch makes a big mistake, but okay, we're going to see how that pans out. And if I look at the Bergwijn, no, not nearly, Bergwijn Antony trade, I'm not a fan of Tottenham, dealing with Tottenham, because they always try to be on the first row for very, very, very little money. They make players crazy. I just don't like to deal with them. So I would play the game. If you want to deal with Bergwijn, but also in Bergwijn, I would make another choice. I would go for Ziyech.
Yeah, but Ziyech is much more expensive, man, than Bergwijn.
I wouldn't go for Ziyech, man.
Right? He's more expensive. He's more expensive.
I don't know if he's more expensive. Maybe a little bit. If you play the game good, then you can get a good deal. He said he wanted to come back. He's 29. We all know what an impact he has on the attack and on the depth of play. Yeah, for me it's simple. Tadic is going away in the coming seasons. Blind is going away I think in the coming season. So you need some experience. You need some leadership in the team. And I'm not convinced Bergwijn is that leadership. I'm not convinced Berghuis is that leadership. I'm not convinced Alvarez is that leadership. So you have to have someone else. You have to bring someone else, in my opinion. So maybe not for the next year, but for the years after, then you can build with youth players and some strong experience. But that's how I view it.
Yeah. Sahbi, you're smiling. You want to react on that? Maybe you want to answer the question that I asked Jadarenko as well. How do you see that, like that whole thing, the news about maybe using Bergwijn, offering Bergwijn also and making a deal with Antony?
Yeah.
How do you view that?
Yeah, let me first react on what Jadarenko said. Yeah. I love Ziyech. I mean, I love him as a player. I love him as a player for Ajax. So I wouldn't mind having him with us, but I don't see him as the type of player that we seek at this moment. We seek a player with depth. We seek a player who got that speed, etc., as an additional weapon besides Antony, because that's something that we really missed. Ziyech, excellent player, but we already have such a player already with Ihattaren, who might come in. He's a certain type of player that can get to that same level, hopefully. He's not there yet, of course. But if Berghuis would move, then he would be that type of player that could replace him, just as my view on it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and about Spurs doing the deal.
No, I saw Jadarenko.
Oh, sorry. I want to react. Go ahead.
No, there was a mosquito.
All right.
Okay, no, but with regards to Antony and Bergwijn, I mean, if that would be the case, I would at least demand 45 million next to having a Bergwijn. I mean, if they want to play hardball, so can Ajax. Antony is a way better player than Bergwijn, in my opinion. He has a way higher ceiling than Bergwijn. So we can play their game. I mean, it's not only Tottenham that can play these type of games. We can play the same game. We can ask for the jackpot, and if they don't, if they aren't willing to cooperate, there are tons of clubs who are interested in him. So, but as I said earlier in this video, I would rather keep him. There is a World Cup coming up. I guess he wants to keep his spot safe. So yeah, it would only be wise to stay at least for another year.
Yeah. Look, Yodarenko actually triggered me a little bit with his comment about we should maybe not do any business anymore with Spurs, And I was thinking the whole time about it. Yeah, it's interesting because I don't want to talk only about Spurs, but now seeing even recently now, if you look at Arsenal with the first bid, I mean, I know it's part of the deal. We do the same with Bergwijn with Spurs, right? We came in at 18 million or something. I mean, I think he's worth a little bit more than that, especially if you go to a Premier League club. He might be worth more, but that's debatable. But if you look at our situation, Gravenberch goes on a discount. We already said that. Even though he had a 1-year contract, he is worth more than what we let him go for, right? That's one. Then you see the bid on Lisandro Martinez. I mean, he has a contract, like you guys said, till 2025. 3-year contract, 30 million euros is a joke. I mean, he was a player of the year at Ajax. He's an Argentinian international. He's the leader at the back. He's our leader in the back line.
He's multifunctional.
But yeah. Okay, so that's two. And then you also hear now, like if you think about Antony, they maybe want to do a 50 million bid and these kind of things. I remember I saw your tweet also this week, Sahbi. Like, what do they think we are? Like, are we like the Aldi or something?
Yeah.
But do we have to blame those teams, or should we blame ourselves in a certain way? Are we too nice sometimes? I feel sometimes we're too nice for our own players. What do you guys think about that? Yodarenko is nodding his head, so I'll go with him first.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think maybe it's a Dutch trait, but I think Ajax wants to be the best boy of the class most of the times within the transfer market. I don't know what it is, and I think it's great that that you take in account that players want to move and want to proceed to a different competition and help them in that sense.
Yeah,
I think that's perfect. But there are times that you have to say to the player, okay, but realistically, this is going to cost us 20 million, 30 million euros. We're not going to take that risk.
Yeah.
Juan, coming back to Spurs, first of all, I don't like Spurs, so I would always say don't go. But also, if I look at the tactics and I look at how they play and how defensively they play, and they even bought Kulusevski or something, a new player. Yeah, and you have Son, so Antony might not even be safe of a starting spot. So why would he consider something like that? So for that, I will already say it's not your style of play. Don't go there. If you have to go, Man United would be the safer option with Den Haag, right?
Yeah,
because that would suit his style. So he shouldn't go, and you shouldn't mix these two together. Just go as Ajax and give your best and final. If they don't accept, move on, man. There are more players with that specific profile. It just needs some scouting. And that we don't, as fans, know about it doesn't mean that they don't know what kind of players there are. Also, if you look at Brobbey, I know that's the next subject, but just to give the example, like Brobbey left us, okay, and we loaned him back from Leipzig. He played for us, and now we want him. But it's been going on for a while. And then you see all the other talents, like we've been talking about for years, like Julian Alvarez, Huslek, that goes for cheaper than the 18 million they offering us Brobbey for. So for me, is don't stand too long on the same person if it's not the best and final, if it's not what you can get now, move on to your next target. And I feel that's not being done.
Yeah, actually, it's a perfect example what you're saying. I didn't even mention the Brobbey situation. Like Leipzig is basically, I cannot say that's on the YouTube channel because we will be banned, but you know what I want to say. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, they really tricked us, you know. I mean, they're tricking us, and also Brobbey has a part to play in it as well.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah, Yodarenko, you want to react? Go ahead.
We do have to take in account that Brobbey played a part in this as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not only Leipzig.
No,
Brobbey and his agent tricked Ajax as well. So I wouldn't have loaned him in the first place because for me it's done. You want to move on? Go. And if you buy him back, then it has to be really cheap. You have spent years and years in this guy. He walks away, and now you have to pay millions. I would never do that.
I have to be honest, guys. For me, it's a hard one. I mean, when they said the first time, okay, we're gonna get Brobbey. I mean, he showed. I already said it a couple of times. He was instrumental. He made important goals for us in the second half of the season. He even saved us a couple of times as well. So we all can see that he's a great player and he would fit the system automatically. You know, also because he's been with the youth for a long time, etc., etc. At the same time, I'm thinking, you know, okay, first it was 10 million, maybe it was 12 million. Now we're jumping. Valentijn Driessen from the Telegraaf said 18 million.
I don't believe it though, but okay.
I'm sorry?
I don't believe that number, the 18 million.
Yeah.
I think they would go for 15 as well, but okay.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so some people are saying that, you know, are questioning whether 18 million is true because it seems like excessive, like what Papimento is saying. But, I mean, okay, it comes from a journalist, whether we believe him or not. Let's say it's 18 million or 15 to 18 million range. I'm starting, honestly, to question whether we should do it because it's a lot of money, guys. And, you know, not only that, but Brobbey was important. But how many times did we see Brobbey playing consecutive games at Ajax? This is also something that's not talked about enough. I know he has the potential, but he hasn't showed us consecutively in games, 3, 4, 5 games, that he can play from minute 1 till minute 90.
Without getting injured.
Without getting injured or being substituted. So
there are doubts about Brobbey, that's for sure. But the thing is, Juan, all these options, if you were with Mark Overmars' era, he was already starting in January to build for next season, checking out the talents, etc. We're starting now, and it's still the same names. Like, we haven't heard any other names than Brobbey and Bergwijn. That's it. And maybe Wijndal, but also we don't know the status. But those are all the familiar names. Have you heard that they're busy with a new talent, a new face, a type of player we really need? No.
Well,
so I think they started too late.
There are some rumors coming out also this week. We don't have really time to go deeper on it, but Moriba, for instance, that's one. I heard the news about from Football International, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was from a Brazilian midfielder that played for Mechelen, but he's owned by Lommel, and Lommel is part of the City Group. So something like that. But I have not seen him play. I don't know anything about him. But it's not true. We're hearing now this week other names pop up. But the thing is with us, we already knew from the start, and this is something else I wanted to ask you also, but Yodarenko wants to react. So I will let Yodarenko react first, and then I will ask this question because it's very interesting.
I'm not totally agreeing on Mark Overmars being a perfect TD. If we look at the situation right now, same goes for Ten Hag. It's a bit of a mess lately.
Why so?
Gravenberg walking away cheap, Mazraoui not signing. Who have we else? We have the thing with Brobbey, which didn't work out. So it's not all perfect. And it shouldn't be.
And there was news, we don't know if it's true, but Prince Unning, youth player, we don't know yet if it's true or not, but we know that he didn't sign a contract yet. And Dortmund is still chasing him. So okay.
But that's also on Mark, but also on Hamstra, in my opinion. Hamstra was brought in to do that, and what he does, I don't know what he does. He watches Netflix or something like that. But the names I hear and the things I see in action or no action is not convincing yet. Maybe he changes it. He has some time left, but I think letting Arjen go would be a major, major fuck up. And if he makes it or not, that doesn't even matter. He's one of the players on that position, like Van Bohemen is also a talent over there. Let them fight it out. But you cannot let them go by not giving them a contract. That's ludicrous, in my opinion. This is your bread.
Yeah, there's nuance there though, Yadirenko. Like, but I will first react to. I didn't say anything about Overmars being a perfect TD. I only said that when Overmars left, things stood still for too long, and the whole preparation of what you need to do for the next season, you do from January till June. You're already busy with it. You don't start in when the transfer window opens. You're already starting at the end of the season, and that's what Overmars was doing. Because we were already hearing names and deals being done before the transfer window was being opened. That's one. Coming back to Anning, maybe it's Ajax's fault that he didn't sign, but it could easily be also that players now look at the team and be like, the level is too huge for me to reach that. I need a sidestep before I can come to the Ajax one. And we've seen that because the targets they go for are all 24 to 27 years of age players that are in their prime. And these youngsters, it's taking way longer for them to start in the first team. So it's not crazy for youngsters also to be hesitant. Look at what Kenneth Taylor said, that he wants a starting position or more game time guaranteed before he starts thinking about a new contract with Ajax.
I want to react on that. This is exactly my point. I think there's something wrong within Ajax, and it went wrong in the last few years. And these are the things which exactly should never happen at Ajax. Ajax has the image of producing youth players and giving youth players a chance, and that even talents like Taylor first want to talk to the trainer is not a good sign in my opinion.
It's not a good sign, but we
been on the bench all year.
I agree with you. If you look at this season, especially this season, because this season we started earlier, of course. I know where you're heading to. We talked about this on the channel a couple of times. The youngsters or the bench players not getting enough playing time, always sticking with the first 11. You're seeing now the result of that. You're seeing some players, especially Kenneth Taylor, is being very vocal lately about it. Like he loves Ajax. He wants to stay here. He wants to play 100, 200 games. That's his dream. But at the end of the day, he's being realistic. He said, I cannot continue like this. I have to think about myself as well. I have to think about my development, about my career.
Can I add on? And if it goes well, then you have an argument. Oh, you're playing like a top European team. But if you look at the second half of the season, it was terrible by times. Yeah. And players don't get that. Youngsters don't get that. And youngsters don't want to get that. Yeah. And I think they're right.
Yeah. But Yadirenko, there were moments in the first half of the season where we were playing excellent, and our score was by 4, +4, +5. Why not put these players in, man?
As well.
Why does Ajax need to play a Conference Cup against an amateur club?
Yeah.
Please tell me. So there is definitely something to say about youth complaining. What I like about Kenneth is Erik ten Hag sent him away, basically, and he said, no, I want to prove myself. So that shows me also something about Kenneth that I really love about him. And that's something that all the youth players should have, I guess.
Sahbi, I want to ask you something, right? I wanted to touch this point also because, again, I'm triggered by what you guys are saying. So I'm noticing now, of course, the transfer window just opened, right? So you have the half of the fan base saying like, these Ajax fans, some Ajax fans are really impatient. What do you guys expect? We just started the transfer window. You guys are already like, I want something to happen. I want somebody to be signed. Where do you stand in this? Are we being impatient, or do you think like, no, we have the right to at least have somebody already signed or something done at this point? How do you view this?
I'm starting getting a bit impatient, to be honest. I mean, the transfer window just opened, but we need to have in mind that all the negotiations have already been done prior to the transfer window when it was opened. So this is only a contract signing that's official during this window.
Yeah.
But the fact that we see all the great players, all the great talents being signed, because it's a hunting season, and the transfer window is just like a hunting season. All the great talents are being getting grabbed by clubs, by top clubs. You need to be one of the first ones, and not only looking at players, but really being concrete in what do we want and go for it. If you want Bergwijn, go for it, and don't like trying to squeeze at 1 or 2 million. In my opinion, I don't say he's worth it, but if you really want him as a club, you should go for it. The same applies for Brobbey. You want him, you should have gone for him already a few months ago and not after the season. So yeah, I'm getting impatient in this because they're also playing poker. Either the talents, the good players are being bought, and there are some certain players, certain clubs who wants to wait until the end of the transfer window to have that bidding war. I don't think Ajax can play in that bidding war, so they have to act now. They have to act soon, and that's why I agree with Papimento. I mean, Overmars, even though people could say he was a good TD, he was not a good TD, but what we could say from it is he was firm, he was direct. In the first in February, March, we already heard some transfer news coming up. We heard we had at least something which we could hold on during the summer. Like, okay, that player is coming, this player is coming. The same plus, for example, Wijndal. I mean, I'm not saying he's a great player or not a great player, but the club is showing interest. At least these are the rumors. Ajax knows what his transfer fee would be. Ajax knows what he wants as salary. Everything is already known. So either take action if you really want him, or look for another one. But don't try to keep him waiting or us waiting for a new left back. I mean, we still don't know whether Nico will be sold or whether he wants to be kept and leave as on a transfer free as a transfer free agent. We don't know anything, and that's frustrating. So not only not getting any transfers coming in, but also the lack of information.
Yeah, exactly that. The lack of information, the lack of transparency since Overmars left. Like Hamstra and Huntelaar, they didn't tell us their plan yet, man. They didn't tell us what they want for this team. They don't tell us, if you come on Rondo and yeah, it's a program here in Holland. And the only thing that we can take out of it is, yeah, everybody is for sale. Yeah. It doesn't make you very hopeful for what's coming next season. So seriously, that's the only information we have, and we didn't hear anything else. I feel like they need to make their intentions known to the Ajax fan as well. We want to be involved. We want to feel connected to our club, and till now, I don't feel that yet.
Yeah. Are we being, look, we talked about, being impatient and stuff like that, but also if you look at the situation right now, do you guys agree? I never asked this question actually, but do you guys agree with the fact that because of the situation that Overmars left, which was not planned, of course, do you guys agree that we just, said like, okay, you know what, Huntelaar came as an intern, kind of an intern, but now he's more involved, and Hamstra is taking over. And basically one time Van der Sar said, you know what, our club is known for giving opportunities to players and to people that are talented. We might do the same with those two. So they can basically, we all concluded, okay, they're going to do it now. Should we wait and be more patient in that regard, because it's their first window? What do you think,
most important is what you have in the end of this transfer window.
Yeah.
So I don't care if they do it right now or in the end, if that was their plan and they want to take it their way and they deliver. I don't care. but they have to deliver this transfer window, because again, a World Cup is coming up. So it's going to be an amazingly busy season and tough season. I think I said it before, but I would have tried for one or two players for the width of the team. Can be youth players, can be experienced players, but you need to roulette a little bit more in the beginning of the season, in the new season, because it's going to be a madhouse. It's going to be a madhouse.
Can we?
Hold
on. I want to react to you. You said like, okay, I'm not judging them now. So I already asked you, should we be more patient because they have the whole transfer window? But at the same time, you already said it. There's a World Cup coming up. We have a very congested schedule. Not only that, when the transfer window shuts or ends, we're already playing a couple of games in the Eredivisie. So can we wait until the end?
No. But you can only judge when we start training and when we start the season, because then your selection has to be somewhat clear.
Yeah.
You cannot buy 5 players when the competition is already started.
Yeah. So you would say now, because we're starting actually this week. The first training will start this week, on the 20th, I think, or something. But those will be without the big players, of course. So they will start with the youth and these kind of players. The others will come and join after vacation. The first friendlies are 1 month from now, so almost a month from now. So are you saying like within now and 3 weeks we really have to already have our team more or less, maybe leaving out 1 or 2 players, but we have to have our team already more or less ready? Is that what you're saying?
I think the Johan Cruijffschaal is a good target point to having the selection complete, and we all know that if something crazy happens, something can happen. But in general, I think when you play that first trial game of the season, which is somewhat important, I don't care really about that cup, but fine, someone call it a prize. I would like to see the selection complete at that moment.
Do you guys see it differently, Papimento or Sahbi, or you guys have a different view, or you guys want to add something to that?
Yeah, for me, look, I'm not mad at H2, right? They got assigned the job pretty late from Ajax, so my blame is more towards Ajax because they waited too long after Overmars to assign these two.
I don't agree. No, I don't agree. I don't agree, because the moment Overmars left, they took over. Even if you're on an interim basis, you're responsible still. It doesn't matter whether you hear that you are on a fixed permanent basis later.
So in that case, I should blame H2.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No. I'm just saying you cannot say that, in all these months they didn't hear anything, so you cannot blame them. No, Hamstra took over from Overmars from the moment he left. And even Van der Sar was involved in it in the beginning as well.
Yeah, in that case, too little happened for my taste, because some deals should have been done already, knowing that so many are leaving already on contract expiry. So, and I agree with Jadirenko.
Wait, what do you mean contract expiry? Who's leaving on contract?
No, I mean, Noes left.
That was a done deal.
Yeah. But Gravenberg also leaving. The interest from Bayern was there.
No, but if you look back, if you look back to his latest interview, he already made up his mind that he had a talk with the Bayern in October.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that he should have retained Gravenberg. I'm just saying you could have already searched for other options. Yeah, players are leaving, so you should be already busy with the team. And for me, of course, before the end of the season, the team should be ready. Johan Cruijffschaal, fine, perfect fixed point to have. But if it doesn't go your way in this transfer season, your whole season will be influenced by that. So it's a very big consequence and risk to put it all in one basket in this transfer window without already sealing some deals towards these transfer windows. So I hope they still make it. And of course, I will only judge them based on what they do after the transfer window is closed. But if we don't get those transfer targets that we really need, of course, you're going to be judgmental against H2.
Yeah.
Sahbi, let me ask you another question, also related to what they said. So both of them are saying, okay, you know what? The 30th of July, which is the Johan Cruijffschaal game against PSV, that is a good point, to fix and look at. Do you agree? Because I'm a bit hesitating about that, and the reason for this being, there are going to be 2 training camps. Maybe you can miss the first one as a new player, but missing 2 training camps and joining the team is not really a good thing for a player, because then he missed out the whole preparation. And don't forget, we have a new coach. He has to find new dynamics with the team as well.
No, I mean, I partially agree with you. It all depends on how many players should get in. I mean, if we're talking about one additional player that we're seeking and in which we are still hesitating about, that shouldn't be a problem. But if we don't get any transfers incoming in this coming period prior to the Johan Cruijffschaal game, then there will be an issue, because you will have so little time to do so much. So it's gonna be a hell of a transfer window for H2, because they really need to prove themselves. This is like their competition. The competition is in their summer, is during the summer. The players is during the season, but for them it's during the summer. So they really have to prove themselves. They're worthy as TD for Ajax, because they have a lot to do in those months. And by the way, I can't believe, or I won't believe, there isn't already a plan. There wasn't already some sort of a plan ready when Overmars was there. So there should be already something on paper. Which players are we interested in? Which players will leave? Who would be their potential replacement? Those should already be known. So they could already work upon that. So if nothing happens, I would definitely blame them. I mean, I would be definitely judgmental, and that would be very worrisome.
Yeah.
Look, Juan, what I'm worried about as last thing, I just don't want a second half of the season that we have to change the formation again. Because yes, we won the game, but it wasn't the way Ajax plays, and I didn't like the way we played. Nice that we can win from these teams in the Eredivisie, but the way we played it and the combination of it and finding each other, it wasn't really the Ajax way, and that makes me feel a little detached. So I don't want that to happen. And we have certain players like Antony. If he falls out, the level drops and the whole team feels it. So that's why if you cannot let Antony leave, and we need somebody with that same kind of profile. You cannot go into the season without that.
Yeah, let me finalize this session, right, with an interesting question. Actually, it's not my question. I'm stealing it from Mark Gushwin from Twitter, so maybe he'll forgive me. But he had a very interesting point. He came, I think 1-2 days ago, he came with a tweet, and he said hypothetically, right, because Opimento is mentioning Antony, we saw when he was injured, the level dropped, especially in the attacking sense. So we were talking in the beginning of the session, we were talking about, our indispensable or key players. And we all said, okay, these are Antony, Timber, Martinez, right? We all agree on this one, more or less? Yes? Okay. So hypothetically, if we would not get anyone in, right, we would keep the same team together, and we have to sell one of those 3 players. So this is a trick question, difficult question. We have to sell one player and keep the other 2, and we're not getting anyone in return. Which player, according to you, would be like, okay, if we sell him, that will be the least worst of the other 2 if they go for this Ajax team? I will go with Jadarenko first. Let me see what he has to say.
This is an easy one, Antony.
Oh, okay.
Reasoning behind this is that I don't see and I don't know players that could replace Martinez or Timber like that. Maybe it's a bit the same with Antony, but I would look at Angelo, Gabriel. I would look at Giovanni.
Yeah, but we're not allowed,
like that.
Wait. We're not allowed to get any player in. So we're not getting any player in.
You didn't say
Selling
that.
one of the three.
You didn't say that.
I didn't
didn't
say
say
it.
that.
I said it. No, I said it. I said
Yeah,
we're
that's
not
fine,
getting
that's fine.
any players.
Okay.
We have to, with this squad, we have to sell one player, one of those three. We're not changing the team anymore. Nobody's coming in, nobody's going out. Only one of those three have to be sold. Let's say for financial purposes. Again, very hypothetical, but which player would be has the least impact? They all have impact, but which one are you like safe to say? Okay,
I stay with Antony, but
Okay.
only because we have sort of, kind of a little bit replacement with Berghuis.
okay,
Sorry, did he say Berghuis?
yes.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
But he
Okay,
said kind of. He said also kind of. Sort of.
kind of.
Not even
No,
in
no,
the
but-
same
but-
league,
but-
guy.
But if you look at that, and if you look at removing Timber or removing Martinez, I think that will be much harder within this team to cope with.
Okay.
To be honest.
All right. So Antony is your pick.
But a difficult one indeed.
It is a difficult one. That's why it's a good. I like it actually. What Mark actually came up
It
with.
was easy, but you made it difficult.
No, but that's I have to be strict because if we going to talk about getting a player in, it makes it a little bit easier. But let's say we can't, make it a bit more difficult. But Mark, by the way, Gushan, he said like he thinks Martinez is the least impactful because he thinks Blind can take over.
No, come on.
No, but
Come on.
I don't see it either, but look, I agree with Mark because if you put Blind on the Martinez role with Timber and you still have Antony, the level drop is the least of all the three. Because if you take away Timber and you put Schuurs there, oh hell no, I can see that all season. And if you take away Antony, you say Berghuis can play a little bit like him, but it would be Tadic and Berghuis on the wings, and we saw that doesn't work. We need people with speed on that wing because we lack it so much. And if you're also going to miss Mazraoui, that was a huge part of the build-up with Antony on the right side, that link-up play is gone. So I think Martinez, is the least, just based on that way of thinking.
I don't think I would put Tadic on the left wing anymore next season, to be honest. We have got a gem of a talent over there. Let him show his work in the beginning of the season.
Okay, wait. So
One
let's
moment.
get on the same level. What would be
One
your
moment.
front line? So
One
just
moment,
so I
please.
understand.
One moment, please. I would just want to add a little bit to what Jadarenko is saying. So you're referring to Axel van Dongen, right?
I do.
Just for our viewers to be clear. And the only thing I would say to that is I agree with you, but he's injury prone.
Sure.
So
And he hasn't proven himself yet, but okay, yeah.
Okay, sorry, Pavimento, but I had to put this out as well. Go ahead.
No. That's what I wanted to ask. What would be his front line? But I'm guessing Tadic is your number 10 or number 9, and then Van Axel Dongen on the left and Antony on the right, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. If I couldn't buy, and maybe even if I definitely would try the Cruyff Barcelona gameplay with 4 midfielders, and one of them is a 10, Iataren. I would definitely try that some games in the season, because I want to know if you can get away with that.
Interesting. Look, so I want Sahbi also to react on the question. So we have an Antony pick, we have a Martinez pick. What's your pick? Your Timber, right?
I'll go for Timber. No, but I mean, at first I would have gone for Antony, yeah. But you rephrased the question, and based on that, I would look to their contract, and looking at Timber having a 2-year contract, maybe willing to stay for a season. I'm looking a bit further than only this season. So the biggest impact, at the least impact, would be to sell Timber for such a high price 50
You're
million or
looking
more.
at it financially. You're looking at financially.
Looking at financially, because I see Timber and Martinez as the same. They complete each other. They're same type of players, even though Martinez has better high crosses than Timber.
I feel like they're not the same. I feel like they complement each other
They
very
complement
well.
each other, but
Yeah.
defensive wise, I mean, they have speed. They have the grinta. They don't walk back. They go to the defender. So they have the same characteristics from that perspective, same characters. But within the build-up, Timber is so sort of Rijkaard knows how to blend into midfield, whilst Martinez has those crosses which are unbelievable. But my choice would be then Timber, mainly because of the contract thing, and we don't want to lose any financial something financial from that perspective. So therefore, choosing Timber.
So something like Gravenberg, you wouldn't be happy with, like Timber playing another year and then selling him for 25, 30 million, let's say.
Yeah, if let me say that if he makes a statement that he wants that he will stay this season, because I still don't really believe the whole thing. I only believe it when Ajax comes with a statement that he will stay, or from himself or his agents stating like that he will stay. But if he would stay, I would at least demand an extension from his side. I mean, otherwise, we will make use of him this coming season, but next season it will be a lot different, and his value will decrease a lot. Look at Gravenberg, and that's something that we do not want to see. Hence my reasoning.
Jadrenko, you wanted to react. I also had a question about what Sahbi is saying, so go ahead first, and I will ask.
Yeah, but I can be very quick because he already stated it. You can also extend Timber.
So that's my question.
But that he already said that. So
yeah. So let me go to another question. Final question. This is it. Let's say we can keep Timber. Timber said he wants to stay, but he doesn't want to extend. What should we do? So he wants to stay, but he doesn't want to extend. Should we still play him this year with Ajax, or should we say we don't want a Gravenberg situation to happen anymore, as much as we love you and as much as important as you are for our team, but no, we're gonna cash in on you right now. So what do you guys think? What's more important for you?
Only if we got a good replacement ready.
I would say this. Timber is irreplaceable. He's a gem. You won't find something like that immediately. If he plays another year, I would be very happy, because that gives us a chance to reach a high platform again in the Champions League. And if he leaves after a year with a 1-year contract for 25, 30 million, you still got something for him. I wouldn't mind that at all.
And it buys us a little bit more time to find
to find the next replacement. Or we can use Magayan, whatever you guys want.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
If you look at his stats,
I read. So,
oh, shit.
I don't know. Jadrenko, what's your take?
I'm with Papi. I think if he doesn't want to extend, then you haven't done your job the way you should previously. Because I think those players should have extended already, or should have gotten a raise. They have developed so tremendously well. You should reward that, and that should be an angle for new players and young players to stay at Ajax and to get that raise quick by playing well. So I would leave or have Timber another season with all the love, because he will also make other players play better and help them in their development. So then you might get a little bit less, but you're getting the value out of him because he's so good.